So here we are at the world famous Gadsden Hotel here in Douglas, Arizona. Really a beautiful place. I bet you they filmed some movies in this place. Nothing but freezing rain coming in from Sierra Vista. So it's going to be an interesting trip home. Let's go see what they got here. Oh, you got to be registered to go past that. Okay. Beautiful little place, though, I'll tell you. Well, welcome very much to Border County, U.S.A. episode 4. And here we are on a very cold and snowy day in Douglas, Arizona. It's actually east of Sierra Vista, east of Benson. Actually, it's on the very edge of Mexico itself. A neighboring town here, Agua Prieta, is here. And I got to get down there sometime this year in a future episode. But today we're going to interview a really awesome dude. His name is DJ Morales. And he's running for mayor of Douglas. So I'll have some good questions for him. Like I said, I always ask good questions. And today is no exception. So looking forward to that interview. And he'll be down here at the Gadsden today here in a couple hours. And while we're waiting for DJ Morales to show up, let's just take it around downtown. Some of these buildings actually go back to the 1800s. The town itself started as a smeltering operation for the Bisbee copper mine. Got the the Douglas Hispanic Chamber, which, like the Tucson Chamber, is really awesome. Always nice to have a functional chamber. We have a really good one in Sierra Vista as well. Big diversity in weather today. Looks like it's starting to get blue skies down here in Douglas. We are like I said, at the Gadsden Hotel behind this illegally parked Coca-Cola truck, and very nice place. I will have a lot of really good questions, like I said, for the future mayor of Douglas. And as you can see, they do have a city bus system here. I just saw a guy taking up trash. They have a pretty good public works system here, and we are just north of the Mexican border, that's actually the main crossing. They're actually going to put a second crossing up for commercial traffic out towards the 191 intersection, so that ought to be very interesting. So once again, the town has like 15,000 people, I think, but an awful lot of traffic coming in from Mexico. And whenever they get that I-11 built, I'm thinking it's going to go right down into Mexico west of here and pretty much take over the 191. So a lovely little town, like I said. First heard of it from Leticia Garcia, who actually was from here. She worked with me in Tucson. Great kid. Just look how beautiful this place is, guys. Isn't that great? Well, welcome very much to Border County, U.S.A. episode 4, season 2. And we have a very special guest today. His name is Danny DJ Morales, right? Yes. And how do you like to be referred to?
Either way, I respond to either.
You respond to either. Okay. Well, it just so happens that everybody in this town that I talked to this morning knows him very well. I met him last year at the West End Fair in Sierra Vista, running for CD2 spot. And Leah Peterson, some other people, and Kirkpatrick actually won that one. We'll get that one changed. But it has just come to my attention that this fine man here is running for mayor of Douglas. And we are at the beautiful Gaston Hotel, very historic, probably the largest building in Douglas.
It is. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, it's really great to have you. And as I understand the schedule now, there is a recall effort going on right
Yes,
now.
sir. There is a recall effort underway. It hasn't actually been formally filed yet.
Okay. So at the latest, you'll be in on the 2020 election.
Yes, sir. That's my
Because
goal. Yes,
They
sir.
have one mayor and 3 city council members will be elected that year.
Yes, sir.
And then two years later, they'll do the other 3.
Yes, sir.
So I was in the Navy for 20 years, as you know, and this is a very fine, I have to call him sir, very fine sailor himself. And I looked at all the qualifications of the city council, the mayor and everything. I think what this guy really has going for him, every naval officer understands 2 things very well. Supply chain management, make that 3. People, and as far as qualifications, this fine gentleman here is more than qualified. I don't even know if he wants to go here or not. But the first thing that strikes me about this fine gentleman here, he's a very strong family man. Very strong, no doubt about it. And they'll go wherever he goes. So, but it's a great family he has. I really enjoy watching his life day to day on Facebook. So follow that at Danny and Martha.
Danny Boy and Michael Burrito.
Do you have a website yet for your run?
Just the personal website, and that's
Okay.
the one that I used for running for city 2.
Okay.
DannyGJMorales.com.
Okay. Danny G.
DJ.
DannyDJMorales.com. So
Yes, sir.
make sure, we're going to put a link on the screen here for that, and check it out. One thing I do want to compliment Douglas on, I really do, is a couple of things. The city website is actually very informative and very well put together. And I've been on those guys in Sierra Vista for over a year. Now, you may not remember this, but I actually ran for city council last year, and I had to drop out for health reasons. But it's a lot of work, I'm telling you. It really is. You have to go around and get signatures and nominating papers and everything else, and it really takes a lot of work. So hopefully that'll pay off for you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
But like I said, he already has a name recognition in the community here. Now, among your naval officer job, are you still in?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so, along with his naval officer job, he's also worked with the Mark Daniel staff. I think they have a sheriff's substation just out there, right?
Correct. Well, formally, because I resigned in the middle of December.
Yeah.
So actually, one of the substations is right next door to this building.
So between being a naval officer and being a deputy sheriff, which he says he retired, you never retired from that.
I'm still certified, so yes.
I'm sure they still tell you. And like I said, if you ever decided to take a job in Sierra Vista, a lot of people do that commuter every day. And I know Fort Huachuca would love to get a hold of this guy. You really would. But yeah, more than qualified to work anywhere there. For those who may not know, I work for the Naval Security Group, which is now called something else in the Navy. So I was a CTO 1, just make a chief when I got out. And then I said, no thanks, it's been 20 years, we'll see you. But it's really, like I said, if you have a background as a naval officer and as deputy for the sheriff, Mark Daniels is such an awesome guy.
He's awesome, great leader.
Yeah, he is. And so one thing I did notice about Douglas is they have a lot of budget issues right now with water and other things like that. Now, I am a huge supporter of the police force. The chief here has 34 officers in his 4 squads, 14 civilian staff members that work there, and that's all coming out of local taxpayers. I'm not sure really. I'm not making an assumption. I'm not sure if that's top heavy or not. But there are a lot of people working for the city here, so he'd be in charge of a massive operation. very complex personnel chain, and I just can't let the city guy win. I think he'll do great. Now, we have 2 airports in the vicinity.
We have 3.
3. Okay, I know of 2.
We have Douglas Municipal, which is the first international airport in the Americas. We have Bisbee Douglas International, which is also on city property.
Oh, it is?
Yes, sir. And then that's Ward 6. And then we have Cochise College Airport.
Now, these are not at-large districts, right? They're geographical, so you got supervisor, District 1 will be, or councilman would be one area, and 2 would be another.
Correct. Correct. And we're elected by our wards.
So unlike Sierra Vista, which is at large, they actually have fixed geography here in Douglas.
Which
now,
I believe is the way it should be.
Now this I-11 thing is going to be something, don't you think? I think what they're going to do is they're going to come down 191, basically turn that into I-11. Or
No. So I-11 is supposed to go through, and my understanding of that is.
Okay.
But, of course, one of the things that I wanted to do, or running for Congress, was have an interstate bypass come down through here. And that's ultimately my goal. I just want people to know that's my long-range goal, is I want to have more traffic come through here.
Well, that's going to happen because, from what I understand, they are working, the city is working with the state and the feds to actually open up a commercial port of entry. So all these trucks that are taking hazmat in town are going to be diverted out to toward the airport.
Well, so we have property, city-owned property just outside of town.
That you have donated.
I'm sorry?
That you have donated, or you plan
No,
to donate?
well, as of right now, it's still city-controlled, city-owned property. It's about 200 acres.
You can probably make a good sale on that.
I'm sure. Well, 80 acres of which has been designated for the commercial port.
80 acres for the commercial port. And that's going to make a big difference for the existing port because we're really just going to get tourism through here. Fernanda Santos, who used to work for the New York Times, was down here with me one time, and she could get across the border and go do a lot of things down there. But it's really interdependent. So one thing I have noticed is there's a lot of people in Walmart with Sonora plates. And so there's an awful lot of tourism and international commerce going on between here and Mexico. And I don't know if you ever had a chance to interview Claudia, the governor of Sonora.
No, sir.
But I'm gonna add her to my list because I'm gonna get her this summer down in Hermosillo. So I'll send cards from the mayor.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I see that the city buses operate much like you in Sierra Vista. They are not really occupied that well, but I guess there's people that actually use them.
Yes, sir.
And they depend on them.
Yes, sir. And actually, Douglas Rights, the city of Douglas, controls the Cochise connection throughout Cochise County.
I saw that, and it goes all the way up to at least Huachuca City, maybe even Vincent.
Oh, Vincent. We just included Vincent this past year.
I followed that guy coming down here, and he was a pretty good driver, but he made a lot of stops.
No, and I'm very blessed to have been a part of that progression, even before I became a council member on the transit advisory committee. So, and also hats off to Douglas Rides and my niece especially, Jessica Leah, who worked on that staff, and a bunch of great people that worked alongside her. And Seago, we have to give a shout out to Seago as well.
Okay, excellent. So, one thing I have to say about Douglas, it's kind of got a problem connected to some of the problems that Sierra Vista has with being very, very dependent on government. So here we have the Customs and Border Patrol, and the INS is also here, border.
Right.
And my understanding is they are actually funded above the people who are here. So if you're looking for a good job, come down here and apply for the Border Patrol down here at the Port of Entry. Yeah, the customs. I mean, it's all in the news right now. Guys. I don't know what our commander-in-chief is going to do about the border walls and stuff like that. There really is a really good wall that goes all the way from Montezuma Pass all the way into Douglas.
Correct.
And if you've ever taken that drive out to the east over Geronimo Trail, that is one of the absolutely most beautiful scenery. You got to kind of go slow on the curves because it's really crazy going curves. Just wonderful things to do down here. And like I said, they got the airport north of here, which is I think is Riverside County.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And the city actually has their own.
Yes, sir.
But that's not the one at the college, or is it?
No, sir.
There's actually another airport here in Douglas, in city limits.
In city limits, yes, sir. That was in my former ward, Ward 1.
And is that basically general aviation, where they fly jets and stuff?
We can take some personal jets. We've had celebrities come.
I know. Warren Buffett's kids always down here.
Yeah, not only that, but we've also had people from America's Most Talented, or whatever it's called. Yeah. So
I don't know how Sierra Vista uses all of our celebrities, but yeah, they're all in Bisbee and Douglas. Go figure. What do they know down here that I don't? But
shout out to Sierra Vista, love you.
Yeah, we need to. It's basically the home. What I'm trying to do in this show is actually get into New Mexico, Cochise, Piedmont, Santa Cruz, and Yuma counties, and then maybe Imperial in California. We're going down next month for that. And even in the San Diego County. So we like to cover the border. And there's an awful lot of diversity, but like I said, it's all in the news about what's going on at ports of entry and walls and stuff like that. There's a big mess going on over in Bisbee about some kind of reservoir they put up, but I don't know. I think the wall here is great. And I think the visitors here from Agua Prieta are just outstanding. And he probably knows most of them down there. It's not that big of a town. Because really, you can't look at Douglas without taking that as an annexation or the other way around, I guess. Just this wonderful town just south of the border. And so one thing I really appreciate about this gentleman is he is well connected to county, to Forest Service, to the Governor Ducey, and I'm sure Congressman, everybody. So he's well connected. And as a federal employee and somebody who's working for the county, he understands all these different interrelationships to make things happen, and not just talk about them, but actually walk the walk.
Well, I wish I was more connected, but yes.
Yeah.
I'll work on that.
Well, I just really want to thank you very much for taking the time. Is there anything you wanted to add to the people here in Douglas on why they should support you?
Well, sure. I just want to let them know. I mean, I haven't formally filed my petition yet. Still waiting for the recall, if in fact it does go through. But my long-term goal is to run for mayor of Douglas, with the election being in March of 2020. So I wanted to give basically a kickstart to it, get the name out there, but also set the vision, because we do need economic development here in Douglas, and that's one of the things that I want to definitely have a game plan set and messaged out to the community that yes, ready day one, we're going to initiate these things and we're going to bring jobs back to this area and set the environment by which we can foster public-private partnerships here in Douglas.
And like I said, I've seen that budget, and it is a challenge. So one of the first things he'll have to really tackle is going line by line and doing, I guess, what means testing for all the different departments. And that is going to be a job. But once again, kudos to the webmaster, kudos to the HR, kudos to everybody here who's kind of all making it work here. And I've noticed there's a lot of farmland around here, so is there any plans in the future to expand? Or?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. This is Douglas is known for its not only its ranching, not only its mining, but as well as the international border, the cross-border traffic, but also agriculture.
Well, what you may not realize is Mexico's Highway 2 runs right along the fence here, and so, like I said, you just kind of put the red carpet out for these guys, and they'll come up from Cananea, from everywhere to visit. When I was in Mount Lemmon last month in Piedmont County, went to the top, and I never saw so many Sonora in place in my life. So I guess they don't have snow down there because they were all up skiing. So it's always very important to have this business relationship between Mexico and Arizona. And I know there's people working hard on that, but this man can really turn keys and make it happen down here. And like I said, it's going to be a very exciting time during your tenure. I'm pretty confident they're going to win. It's going to be very exciting to watch what happens there with the commercial port of entry that opens up and what that does to local traffic and tourism. Because a lot of cars probably are not coming up here now through the main to the main one over here on the Pan American Highway right now because they're stuck behind trucks. I mean, it's just over congested. And I guess there's people that actually come up here and work every day, and like I said, just you really can't look at Douglas without considering its twin city to the south. And I think any kind of cooperation between these two on a common vision or a common goal, common benefits, whatever, is only going to be great for Douglas. We don't have anything like that in Sierra Vista. We do have Bisbee. I'm not Bisbee, but Naco, which is right by Bisbee. Like I said, there is some interesting stories down there, but this one here is much busier, and it goes right through downtown Douglas. So it's going to be a very exciting time for Mr. Mayor. And once again, thank you very much, thank you very much for your service to our country. And as a fellow Navy veteran, that's not easy either, I can tell you. And really want to congratulate you for that. And once again, best of luck to all your endeavors. Appreciate it. And is there anything else you wanted to add?
I just want to say, for the record here, because things have gotten a little bit personal here in this political climate here in Douglas, unfortunately.
I've heard all about it today.
Yeah, so
I learned things I didn't know about.
Yeah, so it's an unfortunate situation, but tests of leadership, like I posted on Twitter, not necessarily of our own doing or of our own liking, but they make us apply what we trust we know is good enough. And so that's basically the position that we're in right now. I'm a public servant. The people here are my family, but they're also my bosses. And so that's the way I look at them. And so I serve at the pleasure of the people. And it seems like the majority of people want to have a recall. And so it's nothing personal against the mayor.
No, it's not.
I love the mayor. I love his family. He's in my prayers. They're in my prayers. So it's nothing to do with personal vendettas, personal grievances, or even national politics. I am a Trump supporter. I make no qualms about that. But here in the business of Douglas, it has nothing to do with the national level politics. It has everything to do with what's happening here at home. Our financial crisis that we have here, as you mentioned, we're $300K in the hole. So there's a whole lot of challenges that we got to deal with. And
I've seen the plans. There are 200,000 here. $1 million there, 400,000 there. I mean, I've seen the budget line items. Like I said, I sympathize with the man in that regard because he's going to have to actually say no to some people. And so,
there's going to be hard decisions that have to be made, and they're not personal. But the people of Douglas need to know that I'm serious about it, and they should know, given my past track record. When I say I'm going to run for something, I run for something, and God willing, everything works out. So, but yeah, I just want to let people know that it's not personal.
It's an opportunity for a qualified man that has all the boxes checked. He's really overqualified for this job, if you ask me. Something we're doing in Sierra Vista is we have a big challenge there because there's so many competing places to live. Huachuca City, Palominas, Hereford, and the city has to be very mindful of our budget there because if you raise taxes to a point that can't be justified by your expenditures, then people are just going to get up and move, and they're with your tax base. So it's as simple as that. So, as the future mayor said, he will be responsible for the benefit of taxpayers and looking out for their wallet. And so, it is other people's money.
Right, and we want to grow that tax base here. We don't want to see it as static. We want to see something on a growth trajectory. Right now, we're not on that trajectory, and that's what really alarms me. And that's why I decided to run for it, because why should I run for another office when my own home is on fire? I could not do that in good conscience, and I think that I have something to bring to the table. But first and foremost, I'm coming to it as a servant.
I could not have said it better. Once again, sir.
Thank you, John.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much.
And welcome once again. We'll take a break here, and we'll do a preview for episode 5 next week, which will be on the backside of the Huachucas. Thanks for watching.